If you are not showing up in your relationship in the same way that you're showing up in your career or your profession or in your business, you need to check yourself and go look in the mirror and ask yourself, am I being selfish, or do I truly believe that this is a one-man show? Ask yourself. And if you don't have an answer to either of those, what's missing now?
Ignition sequence start. 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Today I'm here hoping to be able to interview Joey Wilder. He is the creator, inventor, founder, you name it.
We have Joey Wilder, first time coming on the show.
But at that moment, I had a choice to make. I either hit this while it's hot, while people are hyped up about it, or kind of let it simmer out. And I've been told by many great mentors that it's all about the timing of things. Today's training is 4 lessons from business that can help strengthen your relationships. Now, let's just be honest. Running a business and building a healthy relationship both require a mix of not only strategy, but also adaptability and this level of relentless commitment. Relentless commitment. I'm going to pause there for a moment. When I say relentless commitment, let that sit with you for a moment. Where does that hit you? To be relentlessly committed. You've been committed before. Hopefully you've not been committed. If you have, like, my dog, what'd you do? What'd you do? Let me see your tattoos. I'm kidding. When you are relentlessly committed, that means owning and taking responsibility over every single part of your life. Guys, no one's coming to save you. I believe every boy becomes a man when he realizes that no one's coming to save him. Now, I've spoken with thousands and thousands of men in one-to-one settings, in very brotherly and safe group settings. And man, I've seen some grown boys finally become men. And that is not to say, I'm not calling like everyone that's grown a boy. I'm saying that sometimes we need to actually recognize what it means to be relentlessly committed, starting with yourself. If you cannot be relentlessly committed to yourself, and if you cannot love yourself, how can you ever expect anyone else to be committed to you and to love you deeply? How can they trust you? Does that make sense? I'm trying to stop saying, does that make sense? Because what I'm actually looking for is clarification. And I'm sharing that out loud because when you have self-awareness, the next level of that is being able to check yourself on things. And the other side of that awareness is, and sometimes you think you're just picking things away. You're not. It's not always going to be a game of like, what is wrong with me? Or what's the next thing? How can I improve? Guys, eventually you get to accept the now that you're in, but you don't get there unless you are relentlessly committed to the direction that you're going, which leads me into number 1. But before I get there, having a thriving business or career doesn't happen by chance. I think that we can all agree on that, right? Like you just don't land in this place where you're like, oh, I'm crushing it. Guys, I just landed in this job and I'm making it. Like, no, those people get killed off in all the movies anyway. So like they wouldn't make it. It's just Darwinism, you know? But in that, guys, when you apply the lessons that you've learned, maybe in the boardroom, from climbing the corporate ladder, a lot of those same principles that drive your success there can create lasting harmony in your relationship. Now, some of you are probably thinking, like, do I need to set weekly meetings? Maybe not weekly meetings, maybe some type of check-in. And that's okay. I know people that, and guys, this can also be you. Like in our program, we have this exercise where men take themselves out and they treat themselves. We like to do once a week, but sometimes time doesn't allow. But it's a moment to be with yourself, by yourself productively. And later on, that becomes time that you spend with someone else together. But if you're not there yet, that's okay. I'm talking to both types of men. The guys that are, wanting to step back into that arena. And then I also have men that, they're focused on them, and that's okay too. There's nothing wrong with that. But here's the thing, when you apply those lessons from climbing the corporate ladder and in the boardroom to the living room, married entrepreneurs can build a relationship that thrives under the same intentionality and strategy that actually fuels your growth in your business and in your career. So with that, today I'm going to share 4 key business lessons that I've learned that can help strengthen your relationship. And I'm going to lead into number one. Which is clarify your shared vision. Now, guys, in business or in a career, the person that is in leadership, the manager, the business owner, the founder, he's sharing, or he or she will share what the vision is. What is the mission? What's the vision? Like, where are we going? And in that, it gives clarity of purpose around what we're doing and why we're doing that. Companies with clear mission statements and aligned goals achieve results faster and more efficiently. Guys, I've never seen a company that's highly successful that did not have a clear mission statement and goals in place with KPIs that they were using to measure progress. A lot of you guys are only showing up at work and in your career, and then you were coming home, sitting on the couch, and you are so close yet so far away. I feel bad for you, dog. It's time to wake up. Now, for my guys that aren't in that place, guys, when you are coming home or when you are checking out, I want you to actually sit with yourself. When you are tapped into your vision, you get to allow yourself and give yourself the permission to take rest. As I work with high achieving men that are married, in a relationship, have gone through divorce, or are experiencing breakup, or want to find the one. Those are the guys that I work with. Now, in that, gentlemen, when you can step into, I'm going to call it the lull, and this is when it's only your vision that you're building towards. When that lights you up more than the idea of filling that empty space, that void with the same woman in a different body, you will get closer to where you desire to be. Everything else is just a distraction. Some of you are just thinking with the wrong head. Some of you are thinking with the right head. I'll let some of you discern. If you think I'm talking about you, I probably am. It's none of the guys on this call, though. But here's how you apply it. Guys, if you are spending time with yourself productively, clarify for yourself, what is my vision over the next 3 months? Q1. The first 3 months is Q1. If you do not know what that vernacular is, you do now. Uncle Joey's going to teach you some things. Take out the pen and paper. Do not take notes on your iPhone. I will kick that shit out of your hand. It irritates me so much when I see kids doing that at church. I don't know why. Probably because I got yelled at for taking my phone out and taking notes when I was younger. And now these kids are just allowed to do it like in the main service. Okay, thanks, Josh, for that. Yeah, it's not a big deal to me, but I'm writing in a journal. I'm not a heathen. I also love like writing. Guys, I even have a special pen. I started to reach peak adulthood when I got a wireless Dyson. Real ones know. Got a wireless Dyson. Josh saw it. This thing's legit. Dyson, come at me. I could use a brand deal with y'all. And then I reached peak adulthood, like when I just realized how great those little things are. Those small details are a part of the bigger picture, gentlemen. And that's also a part of relentless commitment. I prefer to invest in things that have longevity, just like my business and just like my friendships and my relationships. Now, guys, when you apply this, clarify, what does your vision look like for the next 3 months? Like big picture, be realistic. And from there, we're going to chunk it down. What does that look like month over month? What does that look like week over week? What does that look like day over day? You are going to start with the big vision over 3 months, chunk it down month over month, and then week to week to week. And guys, it can be, I have a vision of having 3% credit card usage and $4,000 in savings. Because lean into one dynamic and direction. Okay, if you were leaning into health, and I'm not saying you can't do the other things, but you are doubling down on one direction. Guys, there's 4 quarters in a year. A part of this is chunking down the area that you're trying to move towards, because you can't do everything at the same time. Like, you physically can't. Because you're going to not be fully present in what you're truly going or should be working towards. And you guys know when you start to get that like uneasy, unstable feeling, I feel like that's created when we spread ourselves so thin. And I believe when we create this vision, like we know, okay, I'm going to do this at that time. There's no more, I'll do it later. I'm doing it at this time. That's when I'm closing the loop on that. Guys, you can get your goals and make your dreams come true without falling asleep. You just need to be intentional with the things that you're doing and have relentless commitment towards the things that are actually going to yield ROI towards what you actually want. Some of you just don't want it bad enough. So you're not willing to sit down and make the vision, because if you never make the vision, then you never have to say, oh, I didn't make it. We all know. We all know. It's all right. We still love you. But guys, if you are in a partnership, now guys, don't come at me with the partnership fucking dialogue. I'm speaking of straight woman and man. Anyone that wants to come at me in the comments with the partnership dialogue, I'll troll you just like that other lady. She got real mad. I had to tell her, learn how to use the internet. She thought I was deleting her comments. I wasn't. She was commenting in the wrong thread. And I was like, you're triggered now, lady. It was great. You guys should just go check the comments. But in that, guys, I'm always referring to man and woman. I believe in traditional marriage. I believe in traditional covenant. That is what my beliefs are. That is where that statement ends. Because I still want to be respectful in this, guys. Like, humans are humans. However, I have my beliefs and others have theirs. That's where I'm going to end that statement, because this podcast is not the platform for that. But in this, when you're in covenant, sit down together and literally define, what does success in a relationship look like? What kind of life do you want to build together? What are your long-term dreams financially, emotionally, and as a potential family? For some of you, having that conversation with yourself scares the shit out of you, let alone having that conversation with the partner. Guys, I can't wait to have that conversation. I love having conversations like that. Guys, I don't mind like getting deep. I like getting to know people. Like Josh can tell you, man, he was at my house when I was just going in on this woman. Just had to tell her, I was like, I need you to stop talking that way. Because it was disrespectful. And the thing is, I believe many people believe like, oh, our friends are allowed to disrespect us. No, they're fucking not. Like, I won't hit my friend or smack my friend, but I'll definitely I'll purple nurple you, bro. And then if you try to get me back, I'll take you to the ground and be like, dude, stop. You're reminding me of pinching Peter when you try to do that. It's not going to end well. Because in this, sit down with yourself or with the woman that you're with or the man that you're with, if you're a woman, and define what success looks like in your relationship. What kind of life do you want to build? What are your long-term dreams? What do your things look like financially? Be transparent with where you're at, truly, because it sucks finding out later on. Like, fundamentally, men are insecure of three things. One is penis size, the second is height, and the third is finances. Guess what? You can control one of those, and it's not your penis with the pump or the pill or anything. There's nothing that can give you more length, but there's things that can give you more girth and oomph. DM me if you need to know. Josh knows the master keys too. But guys, break down this vision into actionable steps. Because maybe it's committing to a monthly date night with yourself by yourself or with her. Or planning an annual getaway, like something exciting and simple, because you don't need to break the bank. And working toward a big milestone, like maybe buying your first home together, maybe buying your first home, maybe getting out of debt. But hold yourself to this and be clear. Because in a relationship, I am hyper clear about things in the sense of, hey, over the next month, this is what my focus is. That means I do not have space for X, Y, Z. Not in the sense of we can't do that, but it would feel good for me if you could meet me here during this season so it's not as difficult. Because guys, I'm building some fun things right now, so many really cool things, and I'm building them with someone special, and it feels really cool to build things and not be on my own, but also not have it be this contractual, nuanced partnership. Although everything is legally in place, it's one of those things where each business that I've been in and done great things inside, there's always been a part of me that felt as if, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm just here to fill the space and bring great things. I'm not staying here forever. And not in a negative way. I've been in many companies, and there's been two that, and I will always carry them in my heart, although this I carry in my heart much more. Finally got Android to accept the app. Android. Got a bone to pick with you. I don't want a sponsorship from you. Samsung, though, if you come, I will jump on. Apple, if you hear this, I'll take Apple, but Samsung. But really, guys, I finally got the app up on Android. But in this, when you can come together and ask the tough questions, when you can come to yourself and look the man in the mirror, even when that doesn't reflect a familiar face, and you can understand that regardless the direction that you are moving towards, and regardless of how slow you are still moving forward, you'll get there. But if you don't do anything, and if you say out loud, my life is so hard, well, yeah. I mean, you just prophesied it, bro. Come on. My life sucks. Yeah, it does. Get away from me. I'm just kidding. There's people out there that are going to crucify me. Oh, zinger. Guys, I'm going to make a great comedian one day, and you're all going to come to my first show, and I'm going to roast everyone in the crowd. I'm going to be like, I love everyone here. Oh, God, Josh, you brought your daughters? No. I'm just kidding. It would be fun. But guys, here's why it matters to have a shared vision, or to have a vision for yourself before you bring someone else in. Having a vision and having a shared vision helps you know that you're moving in the right direction, and in a covenant partnership helps both of you know that you're rowing in the same direction. Let's just be real. How many times have you felt like this is happening in a relationship? Like you're just going different directions and you're like, hello, hello, hello. You're far away. You're far. I should make that delay. Just throw people off when I edit this. But how many times does that happen? Because coming together and clarifying your vision consistently, it makes it easier to navigate tough times. Because when you know you're working towards a future that you both agreed upon, you're able to come together. And I personally will always have faith in God at the center of my partnerships. And I'll just say it in this way, it makes it easier. You go read Proverbs. It gives you the blueprint. That's what my brother asked me, and he was like, man, where should I start? And I was like, start with Proverbs. It's simple, gives you the blueprint on how to experience everything in life. Literally tells you everything right there. And then keep going from there. Go back a little bit and go and get Psalm. You guys get it? Go and get Psalm? You get it? I hope someone out there gets it. Because you can come and get Psalm when you get it. You know? I always wanted to have a Halloween costume that said, come and get Psalm. Like Psalms. Anyone who hasn't gotten it by this time, Psalms. Moving on. Number 2. Guys, I'm going to start making biblical jargon looped into this podcast. I'm bringing everyone to Jesus. Amen. Guys, number 2, communicate like a high-performing team. Have you ever realized that successful businesses thrive on great communication? And leaders create clear channels, they set expectations, and they address conflicts head on. Even if you don't want to rock the boat because you don't want to ruin the mood, you ruin the mood by not saying anything because then you keep it in your head. And if you keep it in your head, you're just good as dead. So I should be a rapper. I'm just kidding. But really, in a relationship, communication works the same way as it does in business and in career. It's the backbone of your relationship. If you don't communicate and you just keep things in and you never really truly share your mind, do they really love you if you haven't shown them all of you? Because I'm just going to be real. I was with a handful of people about a week ago, and someone had mentioned the honeymoon phase. And for my guys that are live on here, they know how I feel about the honeymoon phase. The honeymoon phase is bullshit. Here's why. What the honeymoon phase actually is one of them is not being completely themselves, and eventually they will. And the other person will have friction, which will cause that for the other person as well, because now they're both someone that they do not know how to love. Oh my goodness, crazy, right? Honeymoon phase is actually bullshit. Now, that is not to say that there's things that are much more exciting in the beginning because it's new. But the honeymoon phase, in my opinion, in my professional opinion, based off what I've seen, is really just people that are deeply infatuated with each other that turns into love while one of them is masking parts of them. Maybe it's the people pleaser or the one that just walks on eggshells to keep the peace. As it happens. Or maybe you're one of the ones that are more convicted in the beginning, and over time you let things slide because you want to be a good guy, and then you want to fix things because you're Bob the metaphorical builder. Because there's no space for people-pleasing Peter and Bob the metaphorical builder. In the kingdom that you are building, that is your life. There's truly not. Because you cannot people-please your way into the bedroom and have true intimacy. You cannot people-please your way to being the leader of your family, because you're going to create weak children that do not know how to stand up for themselves in a healthy way. And I'm not saying that. Actually, yeah, I fundamentally believe in that. I believe if the father is a people pleaser, the children will not know how to stand for themselves in a healthy and convicted way. And you can discern that as you may. because people pleasing comes out in many different ways and expresses in different ways from person to person. But here's how you can apply starting to communicate like a high-performing team. You schedule regular relationship check-ins. Guys, I'm talking like family calendar, put it in. Just like you would review quarterly performance in business, set aside time to discuss what's working and what can improve. And also check in on the fun side of things, like what was something I did in this last week that made you feel appreciated? What's something you've wanted to tell me but you haven't yet? You're opening up the frame of permission. That's called permission frame. Yeah, I don't hear anyone else out there teaching something called permission frame. Because in this, what you're doing is you are giving the proverbial permission slip for them to share something with you. And it opens up dialogue and creates deeper trust. And for my guys that aren't getting any out there, when there's trust, there's lust. But what do I know? I'm not going to say what I was going to say just now. Oh, man. It's really, you can communicate like a high-performing team when you're on a team of me, myself, and I. Guys, there's been phases when I've spent time with myself not so productively. I still loved myself. And there's been phases where I've spent time with myself, by myself productively, extremely productively. It's happening right now, again. And man, last time I did this, I sold a business 2 years later. And it's interesting that I say that because I was just texting someone, like we were sharing our vision for things and how they intersect. Because she was sharing with me, that's one of the things I admire about you is everything that you do all comes together. And I said, can I be honest with you? I have no idea how that works. I just find a way to make it all connect. And that's a modality of a high-performing team. You find a way to make things connect. Guys, every single man or woman, because guys, 24% of our listeners are women. Shout out to the women that listen to this, because y'all aren't the one in the comments that are just like saying that I can't say the word triggered and then got mad because I shared an opinion. I was shocked that she was 39. You come at me, I'm going to come at you guys. I grew up on 4chan. I will troll you and hurt your feelings. Only if you come at me first, though. Like, not in an unhealthy way, but like I'll get in your head and shit, and you'll ask me to apologize. But guys, I hate the phrase, there's no I in team. There's no I in team. Because I feel like that's to say that sometimes as a team, we have our individual tasks. Like we each approach things in different ways. Which here's the second way that you apply communicating like a high-performing team. Is how many times do you approach conflict ready to critique someone and to criticize someone? Like, get it, we get mad, and I'm guilty of this. The rigid part of me is the part of me that wants to criticize, and not in an unhealthy way, but I'm like, I can't believe you did this. Like, I'm so mad at you. This hurts me so much. And instead, you can come from a place of curiosity. And that is not to say that you cannot have big emotions as well. But I believe when you come from a place of curiosity in trying to genuinely understand, believe where you get is much more fruitful than where you believe you get to from demonizing someone and really just chastising them. And guys, words are so powerful. Put the number 1 in the chat if you've ever had words said to you in a relationship and it just changed things for you after that. I've had that. And man, every time I've told them, I was like, that just really changed things for me, hearing that. I don't think I can go back to that place. And I was being honest because I've always been me. But if that is you, hear this. learn to approach conflicts with curiosity. Guys, if I could go back, I wish the chip on my shoulder, the rigid part of me that believed that everyone was going to hurt me, so I would hurt them first and push them away and make sure everything blew up so it can never be rebuilt. And then recently, someone showed me compassion when I did that in my adulthood because that pattern came back. And this person showed me compassion and allowed me to heal that part of me that believed that every person is going to hurt you. So you have to come from a place of criticism and hurt them before they can hurt you anymore. Make sense? Get it, y'all. Words, I hate the sticks and stones may break my bones, but words can never hurt me. Yes, they can. Yes, they can. I don't know who came up with that. It was probably Lincoln. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to get into. I've been watching a lot of theological things, guys. There's reptiles in the Grand Canyon. You guys heard of these people called the Anunnaki? I'm just kidding. Don't go and Google those things. You'll go down a rabbit hole and you'll spend like 15 hours watching. Like, I got the condensed videos to where like I know all the things now in that 15 hours. I am a historian now, guys. I know about the Crusades. I'll tie it all in, and I think I'm going to start another podcast called Knowing Him. And it's going to be for people that are on their walk of faith and they want to hear some fun parable, some theology, and it's not going to be biblical. It is going to be parable, story, things of that nature. I may share scripture at times because I am who I am, but it's not going to be biblical, but I'm considering it. But guys, when you allow yourself to come from a place of curiosity, you get more bees with honey. And here's what it sounds like. You never help me out. That hurts. Like, you never help me at all. I feel so alone. Try this. How can we make sure that we're both feeling supported during busy weeks? Guys, sometimes you have to demonstrate compassion without compromising you. And that doesn't mean that the person you're speaking to does not know that you're hurting or that they hurt you. And this is not a one-size-fits-all. There are times to have big emotions, guys. I've been through some things that, and so have a lot of guys that I work with, that they're not things that anyone wants to go through again. But I believe those can be negated if we communicate like a high-performing team, because the final anecdote here is you get to be transparent about emotions and expectations, because hidden assumptions lead to misunderstandings. But clear communication creates trust, and then that leads to lust. And here's why it matters. Open and honest communication creates a partnership that's built on understanding and not resentment. Guys, all those little sleight of hand, like sarcastic remarks, I hate that shit. I nip that in the butt when it happens in my relationship. Because those passive aggressive remarks are really just shades of resentment that are eventually going to become shards that stab your heart. You guys feel me? And granted, some people are just funny and I'm like, yo, does that hurt your feelings, dog? And when you're like, no, dog, that's just her. I'm like, cool. Yo, add this to the mix. Throw it in your bit, but like roast him. Because some of my friends, like girlfriends, are just really funny. And I'm like, okay, what's going on? Does she hate you? And he's like, no, man. She's like, just legitimately, that's who she is. Sometimes it's a pass. But guys, those little passive aggressive like remarks, like, would you be that way to like your guy friends? Like all my guy friends, like we have deep care for each other, and like we won't cap on each other in a way that I've seen some wives and some husbands do to their wives and some guys do to their girlfriend and vice versa. It's like, guys, do you guys want boxing gloves? Like, I'll let you fight. Like, I'm in California. Like, you guys can identify as things and like you guys can technically fight each other. I had a hair on my lip and it felt like something fell off just now. It was weird. But guys, come from curiosity. Be conscious of the dialogue that you're actually using and be transparent about your emotions, because assumptions make an ass of you and me. And it all matters because open and honest communication creates a partnership that's built on understanding. And when you can understand one another, you can come from a place of forgiveness. And that does not mean forgetting about everything and just sweeping it away and moving forward. It means recognizing that having adaptability is really what builds that foundation and enables it to be shatterproof. That is not to say that you're not going to experience friction. Like, guys, I have some friends that have been married for extremely long time, and I ask them questions and they're like, dude, put simply, it takes a lot of work. And he's like, there's been phases where I cannot stand this woman. And then there's been phases where I cannot stand anything outside of being next to her. And she feels the same. It's learning to love the ugly through that. And guys, some people like, it's too much ugly. And you get to discern what that is. This all goes back to your values. And moving on to number 3, guys, play on your strengths. Guys, if someone comes and wants to work at my company and they're like, hey, I've never done sales before, but I want to do sales, I'm not putting you on sales. You know, like why would we not play on our strengths? Because in business, the best teams are those where everyone knows their strengths and leans into them. You know, I'm not going to put Peter, who doesn't know how to use a computer, like using a computer and doing data and Excel spreadsheets, because like Peter's just going to fail and I'm going to have to fire him and then he's going to cry. I'm kidding. But when you try to do everything like equally or take on roles that don't fit your natural skills, it leads to inefficiency and frustration. Is how many times maybe your wife does something or your girlfriend does something in a better way than you do. We don't have to say what it is, but how many guys have been there? Like just nod of heads. Like maybe they like, I'm not going to say anything because like she may hear this and she'll be like, I knew that you knew I was better at that. So I'm not going to say a single thing. But you guys know what I'm talking about. Sometimes, and those are playing on strengths. And you can approach them and say, hey, I noticed that anytime you do this, it looks much better than when I do it. Have you noticed that as well? And when they agree, I thought so. So with that, how about that becomes your static responsibility and this will become mine because that looks much better when you do it than when I do it. As adaptability and compromise. And that's not to say that you can't sometimes do the thing. And I know this sounds ambiguous, but you can discern what that looks like when you're playing on your strengths. And I had a guy that I had him take a photo. He folded all the towels. And guys, there's a way to fold towels and there's a way to not fold towels. And this man folded all of the towels, like every single one was like a different way. I was like, dude, what the fuck is wrong with you? Do you step on every crack when you walk also? Like, what is wrong with this? What were you doing? And he was like, honestly, I just got so caught up in folding. And I was like, I think you might have ADHD, man. You should, I was kidding with him. But she came in and instead of being happy, she was like, what happened to the towels? And he was like, I folded them. And she was like, they're all pointing different ways. Like, I'm not going to put them away that way. And she was trying to be so nice. And man, I had him take the picture and send it to me. And I literally responded with, what the fuck, bro? Like, who taught you how to fold towels? He's like, I don't know how to fold towels. And I was like, then why would you do that? Guys, it's like me trying to fold women's underwear. I don't know how you're supposed to fold it. Some guys on here are like, what? No, it's kind of like folding a sheet. Like, does a sheet that goes on the bed actually fold? I don't think so. My grandma knew how to make it fold though. But play on your strengths, guys. Like, fundamentally, if something goes bump in the night and we both wake up, guess who's going out and checking on things? The leader. If you're sitting there and you're like, oh, she is. Well, she's probably leaving you soon too. Fitted sheets are meant to be. Yes. Yep. They go right out of the dryer onto the bed. Out of the dryer onto the bed. Or they roll in the dryer a couple times. Want them fluffed up. But guys, when you take on roles that don't fit your skill set, it's just going to lead to frustration in your relationship. And you can only be so patient and champion someone so much until you finally tell them, like, hey, you suck at doing that. You should let me do it, and you should do this because you're better at this. And guys, like, don't use the word like suck towards your partner or towards your girlfriend or towards your boyfriend unless it's a part of like fun vernacular you guys use. You know, like, don't test the waters because some guy on a podcast said it. Come on. Don't trust a random. I'm kidding, guys. But really use discernment. Like, don't just go and say something that I said because you're like, oh, he sounded confident. Yeah, it'll work for me. It probably won't work for you. I don't know if it'll work for me. I'm still waiting for Actually, Josh was at the Arizona event. Do you remember that girl? When I turned to her, I was like, that's the type of woman that'll ruin your life. And she went to smack me. I was walking through the crowd. She was yelling at one of our guys. I just popped off real quick. But it was true. That's why she did it. And the cops told her to walk away because equal rights, equal fights. That's going to get clipped and taken somewhere for sure. Man, do you ever sit down and identify your strengths? I know a lot of my guys in here, I've given you guys the strength tests. But guys, maybe sit down with your partner and identify your strengths, both at home and in life. Or do this for yourself. For example, one of you might be great at organizing schedules. It's usually the guy. While the other's better at planning adventures or managing finances. Guys, if someone is a degenerate gambler, I'm not going to have them being the one that manages the finances. My partner is not a gambler, just to clarify, because I don't want things to be taken like, oh, she's... Nah. But in that, is play on your strengths. Truly. Like, if someone is not great at something, don't put them there. That's just not right. Because you want to champion yourself in the right role. And you want to make sure that the ship is moving in the right direction. Otherwise, you're going to run ashore. But here's how you apply it. Also, divide the tasks or anything that you're doing in ways that feel fair, but also maximizes each of your talents. Let go of the idea that things need to be even and just focus instead on what works for both of you. Like, what allows things to flow naturally. Instead of going the path of least resistance, which means there's still resistance, go down the path of most allowance. There's flow there. There's grace. There's opportunity to make mistakes. On the other path, everyone's trying to be on their best behavior. You know what I'm saying? And the final one is, guys, it's okay to like outsource things that neither of you guys enjoy. If you want to hire a house cleaner and start like automating that part, go for it. Because I've had individuals I've worked with where their biggest thing was like not coming home to a clean home. I was like, why don't you guys just hire a cleaner that comes when you're gone? So you come home to a clean home and you stop fighting when you get home. Also, like, are you guys both 30 people? Because I didn't know them very well. They're like, no, we're really clean. It's just like, we want it to smell a certain way. And we have a cat and kitty litter. And I was like, oh yeah, cats stink. But they're cute. What kind of cat do you have? But guys, in this, you can outsource the things that maybe both of you hate. Like if you hate cleaning the pool, guys, it's not that hard to clean a pool. But if you hate cleaning the pool and you have the autonomy for it, you can like hire the things that neither of you want to do. There's nothing wrong with that. And here's why it matters. When you each are operating in your zone of genius, your relationship becomes more efficient and way more enjoyable. It reduces that band of tension and allows you to really appreciate each other's unique contributions. Like, man, Josh, I shared that video with you. That's my unique contribution Lance, I'm gonna post it in Telegram. It's the most embarrassing video, but Pikachu, I choose you. That's all I got to tell you. Pikachu, I choose you. I can always lighten the mood with comedic relief. I can be funny at times, but it's not like tell me a joke. It's like I will be witty type of funny. I'll do something off the cuff that you don't expect. And it's because of that, like if people enjoy being around you and they feel better when they're with you, there's usually a reason those people tend to stick around. If you're an energy suck or a metaphorical bull, like no one wants to be around that. Like no one says like, oh yeah, I'm just going to go chill with my bull. I'm going to go chill with my Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde at home. Guys, holster the beast, tame the dragon. And I don't mean that dragon. Allow yourselves to truly like recognize the unique contributions that both of you bring. Or maybe you need to recognize that in yourself before you invite someone new into your life. Which brings me to number 4, and this is my final one. Celebrate wins. Celebrate wins. There's no big wins, there's no small wins. When we play zero sum in anything, big, small, win, lose, good, bad, there's always a loser. We're conditioning ourselves to win and lose. We're conditioning ourselves to be in competition. I'll just celebrate the wins. I hate when people are like, oh, this happened, but it's not that big of a deal. Yeah, it is. Because it happened to you. It's a big deal. It's a big deal to me. Because everyone wants to feel championed. Celebrate the wins. I ask my guys almost every day, guys, what are some wins? What are your highlights today? What's something that challenged you, but you're really proud of the outcome? Is ask yourself the questions you really want the answers to, because if you can ask them to yourselves, you can ask them to others. And if you're not comfortable with others, ask them here. Here's why it matters. When you celebrate each other, it reinforces the positive aspects of your relationship. And it shifts the focus from what's missing to what's thriving and what's working. Is the grass is green where you water it. Many times people get so caught up looking over the fence, seeing what else is out there. Guess what? We live in a world of opportunity. Every click, slide, and scroll feeds us thoughts we did not consent to thinking. Opportunity is everywhere. I mean, everything is sexualized at this point. We had emperors back in the day that went their entire lives only seeing 2 women nude. Guys, I think I saw 2 women nude before I was 10. I don't want to talk about it. Like, you guys remember Cinemax? I called it Skinemax. Because, like, Cinemax always had those, like, I would just wake up in the middle of the night. Oh, man. My MacBook just said playing music, and it's starting to play the song. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. I didn't know that was a setting. Okay, cool. It heard me humming that and it started playing the song. Wild. Wild. I'm glad everyone on this call knew what that meant. But here's the thing. Is when you celebrate together, it reinforces the positive aspects and doesn't have you in the frame of mind of like, oh, I wish we had this. I wish we had this. When you're always wishing for the things that you don't currently have, you're always going to look at the things that you don't have instead of the things that you do have. Yes, I've turned to my partner before and been like, you're being really negative right now. It's really difficult to be around. How much longer would you like me to allow you to vent before I cut you off? Careless Whisperer, yeah. My neighbors love that song, the Indians that moved in. I was sitting here on the couch about a week ago, just sitting here. We're on our laptops, and then that song starts playing at full blast, and she literally turns to me and she was like, really? And I was like, no. That's not my song. I am not playing that. That's from outside. And she's like, no, you're joking me right now. And I was like, go walk on the patio. And she was like, oh my God, is what's happening over there? And I was like, they just love that song. They play it every night at this time. And guys, it's like loud. I don't know what's going on over there, but the timing is impeccable. Timing is impeccable. But guys, when you can come from that lens of looking at the positive, it shifts your focus to have more gratitude, which really creates more connection. Now, here's the bottom line. Relationships and business both require a clear vision, open communication, complementary roles, and the ability to celebrate progress along the way. When you can really step into these 4 lessons in the business world and from the business world and bring them into your relationship, you can create a partnership that not only survives the challenges, but turns them into learning lessons, which allows you to come together with compassion instead of come together with fear and hope that this doesn't happen again. Just like in business and in your career, your relationship is going to be an ongoing project that needs care, strategy, and attention. And guys, with the consistent, relentless commitment style approach, you'll build the relationship that's not only fulfilling of all your needs, but it's also unshakable. It's really, I believe, what most people are actually looking for. However, they're not willing to have the challenging conversations. They're not willing to say what they truly mean. They're not willing to bring the thing up when the time is right. Guys, like, time isn't coming back. And I believe that where we are at right now in this moment is right where we're meant to be. We're right on time. We're not behind. We're not too far ahead. We are right where we're meant to be, right on time. You made it. Now, here's the final thought. Entrepreneurs, business owners, high achievers, they often pour all of their energy into growing their businesses and their careers while neglecting the very relationship that supports them. But when you can intentionally apply these lessons to your relationship, you can create the relationship that fuels your personal and your professional success. Guys, your relationship isn't just a part of your life. Your girlfriend is not just a body bag that you come home, do, and then go drink a 6-pack and pass out or go play video games or something. Your relationship is a covenant that fuels each of you in your personal life and your professional life. If you are not showing up in your relationship in the same way that you're showing up in your career or your profession or in your business, you need to check yourself and go look in the mirror and ask yourself, am I being selfish, or do I truly believe that this is a one-man show? Ask yourself. And if you don't have an answer to either of those, what's missing now? Because if you believe that your relationship or your marriage is just a part of your life, my friend, you are far left field and you need to come back, because it's a cornerstone. And I'm not going to use the word legacy. It's a cornerstone for the life that you are living here, and you get to build it wisely. Because when you do, guys, it enriches every other aspect of your journey. It truly does. It becomes a compassionate ecosystem, and it's not easy. Guys, we're not easy to love. No one is. But you learn to love the ugly and the ones that matter most, but not until you love the ugly in you.